This is a video that I don't really want to make, but I feel that I've got to. I'm going to comment on the first US presidential debate of 2024 between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I feel I've got to make the video because, well, it's about leadership, and I talk about leadership. I talk about the need for leaders to be upfront, honest, transparent, and also the fact that the followers or would-be followers need to know what those leaders are planning, what they're thinking, how they're thinking. And of course, there's been quite a lot of fallout since that debate between Biden and Trump. Unfortunately for the Biden team, most of it has been about Biden rather than Trump. Yes, people who dislike Trump have said he's lying and he's doing his usual bombastic stuff. But even those who are supportive of Biden have found themselves feeling a little bit conflicted. Not all of them. Some people thought he did a really good job. And in a sense, I think we have to focus on that first, because he wasn't all bad in that debate. And Trump certainly wasn't all good. But let's look at a couple of clips.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done.
You would see in many ways what I would call the biggest cringe-making moment for Biden, where he just simply loses the place and runs out of energy, it would seem. And of course, in contrast, irrespective of the content, irrespective of what Trump is saying, he looks much more energized. He looks much more forceful and sounds much more forceful and on the ball. And that's a big problem for Biden. But as we'll see, that problem may be bigger than simply Biden and his supporters. So let's then go on.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman.
And of course, the media has picked up on it and ran with it, making the claim that Biden thinks he's the vice president and is a black woman. The issue there is that he wasn't quite articulating in a way that made total sense. And this seems to be part of the issue with Biden. There is much conjecture about what may be wrong with him beyond simply just getting a bit older. And yeah, there could be some stuff going on. Let's then look at this other clip. And this is, I believe it was Independence Day. This is Biden, well, talking extemporaneously.
All right, I'll come back out when they open the gate, okay? Thank you. One last thing. You know, I used to think when I was a senator, there were always congestion on the highways. There's no congestion anymore. None. Regarding the highway, there's no congestion. And so the way they get me to stop talking, they'll say, we just shut down all the roads, Mr. President. You're going to lose all the votes if you don't get in. But anyway, I'll be back out.
Once again, some people have mocked what he was saying, but I think if you play fair and give him the benefit of the doubt, what I believe he's saying is that, well, he's actually, I think, trying to be self-deprecating and making a bit of a joke. Essentially saying, hey, how come the roads are always empty? Well, it's because of you, Mr. President. And if we don't clear them and get rid of the traffic, you won't get where you need to get to. And it's important at this time because, well, we're in a campaign. You're running for president again. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he didn't mean that, but I think that's what he meant, or something like it. But it's so easy for people to be cruel. I think it is cruel to mock him in that way, because if you had Joe Biden as a neighbour, I think he's 81, an 81-year-old neighbour, and you spoke to him and you talked to him on the street and maybe, helped out with the gardening or whatever, just interacted as you may do normally with a neighbour, you'd probably think that, hey, this guy's doing really well for 81. He's pretty robust. He does get a bit wandered now and again, but other times he's on the ball. But that's not the issue, is it? He's not simply your neighbour, my neighbour, our neighbour. He's the head of this extremely powerful and important nation. Let's then look at this clip.
And you've agreed to the 2 minutes, so please let him have it.
Do I get my time back? The fact is that he has, in fact, worked on this in a way that he's going to be the first president of the United States to leave office having fewer jobs in his administration than when he became president. Fewer jobs than when he became president. First one in American history. Secondly, the people who have lost their jobs are those people who have been on the front lines, those people who have been saving our lives, those people who have been out there dying, people who've been putting themselves in the way to make sure that we could all try to make it.
That clip is from Biden approximately 4 years ago-ish, and that, of course, is him debating Trump. He appears more focused and more alert and in the moment then than he does at times now. Let's then look at this clip, which is after the presidential debate, the first 2024 one, and it's Dr. Jill Biden talking to President Joe Biden.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the... And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Lied! Yes.
Now, once more, the word that springs to mind for me is cringe. I don't think that is a good look. I think that possibly the damage has been done.
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
Whether we like it or not, the presidential debate and leadership has become, to a degree, a televisual spectacle. And it's how people look and sound as well as the substance. But unfortunately for Biden, although, again, people can accuse Donald Trump of all sorts of things in terms of the veracity of the substance that he spouts, Biden lost it in places. And so the substance, even although he may have said some things that were coherent, well, they tanked, they fell into an abyss when people were faced with some of those cringe-making moments. And if you imagine yourself, if you wanted someone to run your business, or run your local council, or indeed run your community centre or whatever, how much faith would you put in an individual who looked and sounded like Biden? And then add on the fact that, well, this guy is going to make some, or may have to make some pretty big decisions as we go forward pretty rapidly and understand the subtleties, the cost, the dangers, the threats, and the opportunities in perhaps one intense briefing. And then say, hey, let's go and do that. Is he adept enough at this point in time to do it? I don't know. But I feel that there's such a big question mark over him that we probably shouldn't be running the risk of that. I think Biden should step down.